Welcome and hello there to another video. So, we've all heard the sad news that Armada won't be continued by AMG. So basically now we have to do it ourselves. And regarding that, I would like to be part of the solution of making Armada better balanced, nicer, and making more things viable to play. And for that I thought to myself I'd just make an Excel sheet with all the stuff that is in Armada currently, and just put everything in I would personally change, make that available to you guys, and then discuss with you what everybody else thinks should be changed to be better balanced. And then hopefully we can long-term as a community agree on a points update, which I thought would be great because there is, in my opinion, a lot of stuff that just isn't really competitive. So what I have here is that Excel sheet, and I will go through the whole sheet with you guys. I will probably make, I will timestamp the video on YouTube, and I'll argue with you in the comments or also on the Armada Hub Discord. I'm quite active there. And just so you know, nothing of this, none of these points is a hill I would die on. This is everything. I'm open to discussion on each and every one of these. And the next thing I want to say is most things I wouldn't like to nerf. So the only thing I would like to do is like decrease points or make stuff better so more stuff becomes viable, and not nerf the good stuff that you already like. There's only a very few instances in the spreadsheet where I have increased points on something, and I will take my extra time to discuss why I made that. And I still think that where I did that, I didn't overdo it. But as with everything in the spreadsheet, I am totally fine with discussing it and changing anything I put up there. So these are more like suggestions I would like to run through the community, and like in half a year or sometime like that, when enough people have said, I like what is this now, and I can support that, I'd like to maybe finalize it. So what I've done here is I've put always the name of something on this left side. Then I have the old points and the new points, and in some instances I think a points update is not sufficient to actually make something viable, in which case I've added extra annotations. If there is a question mark behind something, that means that I personally am really not sure about it, and I need to talk to more people about it. And then I have put some things I have put rework, which means I don't think that the card is currently viable in any way. Like there's no way to balance it through a points change, so you would have to change the card itself. And I have rewording, and rewording in my sense means you keep the spirit of the card, but you buff it in another way. Once we get to Screed, which is I think the first time where I put rewording, I will also explain what I would reword, and I think I will explain that with every card where I have rewording. For reworks, I have no clue as of yet, and even with the rewordings, like first of all, I would like to have a consensus on which kind of ships might, or which kind of cards in any way, shape or form would need a points update. And I think then we could talk about rewording stuff to make it better. And then after that, we might rework stuff to make it viable. And only when we've got like a good solid base that everybody likes, I think then we should start thinking about adding stuff to Armada. And I think also with that, I think Rebels and Empire are probably in a good spot and kind of done. So I think long term, if we talk about adding stuff, probably new factions, because they kind of still need some more chassis in my opinion. But let's first start off with ships. So as you can see, most of the ships I think are in a good place. One of the ships I think is not in a good place is the Assault Frigate Mark II-A. I would personally make it go down to 75. There is a pretty good video by Chivalry, who's as far as I know, a pretty good player from the United States, and he has played a lot of Assault Frigate. And basically what I think, if I've understood it correctly, it comes down to is basically if you want to play Akbar, the A really doesn't help you. If you want to play Squadrons, it really doesn't help you. And if you want to play it with a gate, it's kind of nice to have that extra dice in front and the extra flag, but it's not worth like 9 points. So I think in this case, just decreasing the points so you get that extra die and extra flag for 3 points, but you decrease your squadron value, I think that might be worth it. Maybe 75 is too low, but I think 75 should be fine. So that's the Assault Frigate. Then looking at CR90s, I think the A is perfectly fine, and I think the B could go down like a bit of points, because I personally never see anyone competitively play a CR90B. But again, if you don't agree with it, feel free to let me know. I personally would put it, make it 2 points cheaper. Same goes for the GR75 combat retrofits. I understand that most of the times you really don't want to have the blue die for extra points. And that is kind of the only, and the extra longer range flag. I made it just go down by 2 points because I never see anybody use it. So maybe if it were like 2 points less or even down to 20, people would think more. Am I going to take 18 points for the normal flotilla or 20 or 22 for the other one? I don't know. Maybe it will see more play then. So then hammerheads I think are fine. The MC30s I think are fine. And my next ship would be the MC75. And there I think the armored cruiser could like be decreased by a bit. Because like you lose the ordnance for the turbo laser, that's okay. You gain an ion cannon, which is nice. Your dice become more long range, but kind of worse. But you've got better flag. I don't know. I'll actually like now that I've thought about it. Whoop, why did that happen? Hello, thank you. Now that I'm thinking about it again, I would actually put a question mark here. Probably not something that's really necessary. Something that is necessary, in my opinion, is bringing down the MC80s in the home one types in points. So I've put the assault at 105 and the command at 100. I think the command could probably even go down further. Yeah, I mean, they're in kind of a sad spot ever since the Onager dropped. Speed 2 ships are kind of not playable. So you kind of have to have engine techs on them, which makes them 8 points pricier. And that's already not a great trade-off. So I think the command should probably also go down by a bit more. And then they, like, even though they're like cool carriers and like the lore, they don't have a weapons team slot, so they don't get to use flight controllers, which also kind of makes them not as good as a carrier. They also don't have any great titles for being a carrier, but the titles are another thing I'll get to later on. So I think they just need to come down in points by quite a lot, and they might need the addition of a weapons team to be viable. MC80Ls are fine, I think. For the Nebulons, I think the escort frigate is fine. The support frigate, because you can't use it for squadroneering, I think could go down a bit in points. So I've made it go down by 3 points. especially if you compare it to the what's it called here, the CR90A, which is, I think, the closest competitor. The Nebulon almost always wants to take one of the titles, like either the one that gives you a redirect or the one or salvation. They both go on top of the chassis just for the ship to work in a somewhat in somewhat of a good manner. And I mean, your side is the same, and the front is one red die instead of a blue die in comparison to the CR90A, and you pay like 7 points for that. I don't think that's worth it. So making them go down to 48 might be a good choice. Next one is the Pelta. I think the Peltas also just need to go down on points a bit. We've seen the Republic Peltas, those are pretty strong. The Republic Peltas kind of aren't. I think just a points decrease would help them. Yeah. And then the Starhawk. I've had a lot of discussions about the Starhawk, and I have to say I don't know what to do with them. Because currently I personally don't like the way Farmhawk plays, and I mean, it won last World Championship, so it definitely is a viable playstyle. I personally think that the problem is strategic, enabling the whole farming thing, which is why I would like to see if like a Gate Hawk would be fine without the farming aspect of it. But yeah, I can see people wanting the Starhawk to change a bit. Maybe a Gate changing a bit. I don't know. I think a Gate is fine on almost everything. It makes the Starhawk super, super tanky. But I mean, it's supposed to be that. Like, it's half your points in it. I don't know. And then with the Providence, I don't know what to do with this. Like, maybe it needs an increase in squadron value. Maybe it doesn't need anything. Let me know if you think that the Providence is balanced. I haven't seen it much, but I personally think it's not well balanced. I think it's a bit too weak. Like, the maneuver chart is also, like, maybe it just needs an update on the maneuver chart, to be honest. Like, maybe it's just that. I don't know. Open to discussion on that. But yeah, those are like the things I would change for Rebels. I think my most important stuff would be Assault Frigate, the MC-80Hs, and the 2 Peltas. Yeah. So I'll go over to then the next ships, so Empire ships. I think Empire is largely in a very good spot with the chassis, so I haven't had a whole lot of changes up to the Gazantis. And there, I just bring the Gazanti assault cruisers down by a bit, because I also never see them, so I'd bring them down to 25. Same argumentation as with the GR75 combats. Like, the more pricey variant, you normally just don't see it, and if it were like less pricey, you might see it more often. I don't know. Then with the Star Destroyers, I've seen people argue they need to be buffed because they're not good enough right now, because they can't really compete with the largest from Separatists and from the Republic. And I kind of agree, but I also I'm really not sure they really need a buff, because like, they are pretty competitive, and a lot of competitive lists use the ISDs. I think they're mostly fine. I think if I would buff something, I'd probably give the ISD Simoon a defensive retrofit, because I think it's very often not taken because you don't have a defensive retrofit. And the ISD-1 might also want a defensive retrofit or something else. I'm not sure. But yeah, because you kind of want to have the captain slot for something else than Tua. And that just I think that holds those two back. That's why I think you mostly see ISD-2 and Kurt in competitive fleets, just because that defensive retrofit slot is so important. So, next thing is the interdictors, and I think the suppression is probably fine where it's at. Like, it's kind of a niche thing, might need a points decrease, I'm not sure about that. But I think the combat refit definitely needs something to work in its favor, because right now you pay 3 points to lose one of your special slots, which is pretty bad, and then also to kind of have not really better dice, because on the suppression refit, most of the times I see the offensive retrofit slot with disposable capacitors, in which case you can use all your dice at long range, and with a combat refit you can do the same, but it's just 3 points more pricey. So that's not great. My proposition would be to just simply add like 1 or 2 red dice in the front arc of the interdictor combat refit. And on both ships I would probably change one of the contains into a salvo to make them more playable. And if one were to add the red dice in the front of the combat refit, I would also change the ion cannon to a turbo laser slot. Yeah. So Onager, I think, is in a pretty balanced state right now with the points increase from Rapid Reinforcement 2. I think that's fine. Quasars is just the Quasar 2. I would decrease it by 2 points because, I don't know, you always see Quasar 1, and I know why. I mean, you want to have your flight controller, boosted comms, expanded hangar bay. I almost never see the 2. I don't know if it needs a 2 points decrease. It doesn't really need it. It's fine, I guess. So yeah, that. Raiders I think are fine, and then the victories, I think they really need to come down in points because they are pretty bad at the moment, I think. Yeah, they've got the same problem as the ISD-1 and Simoon, that they don't have a defensive retrofit. On top of that, they have their pretty horrendous nav chart. So basically what I did was, with the Victory 2, I decreased it by 1 point. So if you put Harrow on it, it's the same points as the Victory 1 that the Republic gets, that already has the Harrow upgrade slot, basically. And the Victory 2 I just put down to cost 5 points more than the Victory 1. Might be a bit too much, I don't know. Maybe it needs less of a decrease. Not sure. And then for the Superstar Destroyer, I think that is also competitively in a very, very weak spot right now. So I had a bit of a discussion with a guy online, and he told me there had been a tournament earlier that had experimented with how to buff the Superstar Destroyer. And he said basically just giving the Superstar Destroyer a salvo token would be too strong. But giving it a second weapons team, so you can have gunnery team, which is basically mandatory on a Star Dreadnought, or like having gunnery team and then have flight controllers if you want to have a squadron build, or have local fire control if you want a salvo. So that would be kind of good, and I agree with him there that it needs the one slot for a gunnery team all the time, and so a second one would probably be nice to make it more versatile. So that's why I put add weapons team in my spreadsheet. Again, if you don't agree with something here, please do feel free to let me know. Because I really want to make this good and accepted by the whole community. So having a good consensus on what is balanced and what isn't is, I think, very, very needed. For the Republic, I actually think the chassis are perfectly fine. I've had a discussion about the Victory 1 needing a points decrease, which I personally am still not too sold on, because I still think it's good, and giving Republic an even cheaper chassis for SVATs might be too cheap, but I'm not sure on that. I'm open for discussion on that one. I think the Venators are fine. I think long term what would be nice is to have like 2 more Venator chassis, like the 4 Imperial chassis. And I think the Republic generally needs just more ships that can fill some more roles. Like a real torpedo boat, not something like this, the Consular that is like a kind of torpedo boat, but not really. Like it doesn't have a weapons team and stuff like that. And I'd like a broadside ship for them, like at least one. So I think Architans would also be a pretty good addition for them. But yeah, that's long-term stuff. So I think the general points cost on the ships for the Republic is fine. The only thing I'd take down a bit maybe would be the victory. And then for the Separatists, it's basically the same picture. I think the ships they have are adequately costed, but they just need more of them. Like they still have, like, they don't have a small ship that has any kind of torpedo capabilities, which would be great for Raidbot, for example. They don't really have a dedicated carrier. I think just having something that's somewhere, not like maybe not as good as the Quasar, but somewhere around the Quasar would be very good for the Separatists, so they can have like a battleship and then a carrier and then some squadrons and yeah, stuff like that. But also, again, that's like much in the future. And then the Gazanti cruiser, I think, could come down to 22. Again, I'm not totally like it's not a hill I'm gonna die on. If people say, well, it's fine at 27, I'll be okay with that. I'll just put a question mark behind it. Like, I don't know. Okay, next cool thing is Admirals. So I'll go back to Rebels and get us just a little guppy here to look at all the Admirals. Yeah, talking about Akbar, I've talked to people online and they think Akbar is fine. I think Akbar is fine as well. I haven't seen him much competitively in my competitive time, but if other people say, well, in Armada he's super good and everybody plays him and whatever, I'm also fine with not decreasing his points. I think he's in a good spot. I think he might be a bit pricey, especially if you compare him to something like Martuk, because both of them, well, Martuk can add 2 reds if you're in a double arc. Akbar always adds 2 reds, but only on your sides. They both have a drawback. It's just that Akbar is way more pricey. Like 10 points. I don't know if that's probably fine. So I'll actually just also put a question mark on this. Like, I think he could go like 2 points down without being too good. He could probably go down by 4 points without being too good. But also I don't think he necessarily needs it. Redis is in a good spot, I think. Sato. Sato is a really fun admiral, so I'd like to see him more. Problem is just, I don't know, like back in the day he used to be, I think, 30 or 32 or something, and then 1.5 came and made him 27, and he kind of is still too pricey for what he does, I think. So I would make him go down to 20, might be a bit much, but at least 22 or something like that. Garm is just one of those guys. As people tend to say, he's a generalist in a game where specialization is key. Basically the same problem with Tarkin, the same problem with Thrawn, and the same problem with Republic Tarkin. Though Republic Tarkin is a bit better. Yeah, I mean, he either needs to go down in points or potentially get a rework. I don't know. I think he's not good the way he's at right now. Kraken, I think, is okay where he's at. Might go down in points, but also might just stay where he's at, so that's why I didn't put anything there. Duduna is, or Dudana, or however you want to pronounce it, is I think one of those guys who's it's just hard, man. I don't know. I think he would need to go down in points, but I don't think an admiral that costs less than 20 is a good idea. So he'd need a buff of some sorts, but I don't know how you would like. It's a potential rework. I don't know. Like on Duduna, I just don't know. Draven, I think right now he just doesn't work at all the way, like, I mean, obviously he works, but I don't think he's good in any kind of fleet. I think he just needs to be reworked again. Maybe he needs to be something more along the lines of Emperor Palpatine, but I don't know. General Medine, I think, could go down in points, especially if you compare him to something like Jejerat for Empire, who's like 23, and you can always use him as long as your ship lives, basically. And I know Jerry has a cost, but Medine has a cost as well, because you need to actually have a navigate dial token. So I think he could definitely go down from 30 down to 25, maybe even more. But I think he's a cool admiral. Riken, I'm a bit torn. I think he's a bit pricey, but he's also pretty strong. So I think I would just keep him where he's at. Agate is one of those few cases where, in my opinion, it's pretty hard to balance her. Like, she's very strong. I think she's very strong on a lot of ships. Like MC-80L is pretty good with her. The Assault Potatoes gets unbelievably tanky with her. MC-30s become so tanky with her, it's crazy. And then on Starhawk, people tend to say she's even broken. I think she's fine on everything. She's just strong, so I would probably increase her to maybe 28. But as I said earlier, I don't like increasing stuff much. I would much rather just decrease other stuff so it's on the same power level. But I think she has a very strong effect, and also a very meta effect. Like, if you see a Rebel fleet, I think most of the times it's gonna be either Krista, Gate, or Riken, or like a small fleet with Kraken, but MSU tend to not be the most competitive stuff. I don't know. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Leia, I think, is again in a fine place where she's at. She's probably never going to be top competitive, because same thing again, she's kind of a generalist in a specializing game. And then Mon Mothma is just way too pricey. I mean, she fills a similar role as Kraken, but where Kraken just works on every shot as long as your ship is speed 3 or higher, which basically if you run only smalls or mediums, you're gonna have them at speed 3 and just use Kraken on every enemy shot. While Mon Mothma only works at medium range and close range, I think she needs to go down to at least 22, maybe even 20. Yeah. That's the Rebel Admirals I have for you there. Next on, Empire Admirals, and this one will be a bit faster. I think Constantine, kind of bad still. Honestly, don't really know how to fix him. I think I would probably take away the non-flotilla problem, and I would still make him also go down to 20. Motti is fine, I think. Ozzel is definitely fine. Pete, I don't know. I don't see him often. When I see him, I always think he's not that good. Some people like him. I would just make him go down to 20. Screed is a big loser of 1.5, where the evades now work at close range, and then he lost again big time when the point defense ion cannons came out. So I think he needs to go down in points, or what I would much rather have is add to his text. So this is like one of my first rewording things. I would have him be once per activation when a friendly ship is attacking, it may spend 1 die to change a die to a face with a crit icon, and then also that die cannot be modified again. So basically making sure that if you spend a die, because that's already a big cost to change another die, that other die then cannot be evaded, it can't be scattered, it can't be point defense ion cannon. I think that would be a good change. And I think if he had that extra text, he could easily stay at 26 or even go up to like 28 or something. But it would also make a cool comeback for like crit cards, because right now most of the crit cards, like I see some blue crits, but basically every ship that hasn't swivel mounts but uses a black card, like a ordnance card, always uses external racks, because the crits are just too hard to make stick. Yeah, then next contender is Sloan. I think no one's gonna argue that she's pretty strong. I don't want to remove her text. I think the text is fine. If you bring Squadrons, you're gonna live with it. I just think she could, like, I personally have played a lot of Sloan. She can easily go to 28 and still be picked. Yeah. Next one is Vader. I never see Vader. Most of the times I don't even consider Vader. I think he needs to go down in points by a whole lot. So I have put him from 36 to 28, and I would argue he might even be able to go down in points even more. Because like if you were like 20, 22, 24, something like that, you could think about taking Vader and then using only dice add effects and not use dice fixing, because you've got Vader for dice fixing. But right now, his opportunity cost is just so massive. Like, you've got the very good Vader captain, you've got the very good Vader squadron, you've got the very good, the okay Vader boarding team, and then you've got this crappy ass Vader Admiral. I think he needs to be way better to even be considered instead of any of the other Vaders. Because right now, your Vader officer is just so much better at doing dice fixing than the Vader Admiral, which is kind of stupid in my opinion. So yeah, he needs to go down in points, and he might need something else as well, I don't know. Next one is Palpatine. Yeah, Palpatine also big useless. I tried to make him work in a lot of my fleets because I really like the idea of him, but yeah, I don't know. Like, he needs a decrease in points, obviously, so I made him go down to 28 as well. But I think he also needs to have a rewording of some sorts. Like, either have your opponent discard the token whenever, like not only in the defense token steps, but whenever in that turn your opponent spends one of those tokens. So you could like also be he could also work against thermal shields. He could work against here, what's it called, turbo laser reroute circuits and stuff like that. I don't know. Then I think he'd be considerable, but right now he's just kind of bad. Or just have one, like, put 3 defense tokens on him, but you can take any 3 defense tokens. So I could just put 3 braces on it or something like that. That would be very nice. I think he needs some kind of buff to be competitive. Yeah, next Romedy. I think now with the increase on Romedy and the increase on onagers, I think he's actually pretty balanced. I think even before he was just unbalanced because the onager was the problem, and Romedy was just the thing you slapped on it because he's he doesn't cost a lot of points. Yeah. I just noticed I don't even put General Tage in my list, I think. That is sad. Okay, so we're gonna add Tage. And he really needs a rework. Like, he's just bad. I don't know. The non-consecutive round tokens kills him. Like, you want him in round 3 and round 4 every game. Or round 4 and round 5, depending on what you're planning for. And the non-consecutive kills him. And then the timing is also kind of bad. I think he'd be better if you if you could just put like 3 or 4 tokens on him, and then whenever a ship activates and it has a discarded token that matches one of your tokens, you can take that token off of him and put it on the ship. I don't know. He really needs a rework. He's just, I wouldn't take him for 20. I probably wouldn't even take him for 15 points. Thrawn, same thing again, Generalist Admiral. I think he could go down to 30. Other than that, I don't know. Tarkin, again, I think he could go down to 26, or he could stay at 28 and just get the same text as Republic Tarkin has, because I think Republic Tarkin is pretty good, or at least he's okay. Yeah, I mean, normal Tarkin at 28 is also okay. I think going down or buffing him in another way would be a good idea. And then Jerry, he's just good. He's always been good. I don't think he's broken. I don't think you need to increase him. You could increase him to 25. People would still take him. But I don't think he needs to be increased. He's not I don't think he's a problem per se. So yeah, that's Empire for you right there. Let's go to Republic. So, Republic. Yeah, Anakin. I think this Anakin is kind of a bit too bad. Like, he could be better for 31 points. I mean, Republic lacks dice fixing, so it's good to have a dice fixing admiral. I think you could make him either less pricey a bit, or you could just say, well, right now you have to have the defender at distance 1 to 5 of 2 other ships. I think you could easily take it down to 1 other ship and not be broken. So I think he needs a slight buff. Republic Tarkin is fine. I would take him down by 2 points. I think he's okay. He's not great. He's okay. Yeah, especially if you consider that Bale. Wait, I mixed something up here. Bale is not 24. I was thinking like, wait, he can't be 24, right? No, he's 28. Yeah, so making him the same points as Bale Organa would probably be okay. And then you'd consider, do I want more specialized or do I want more dials in total? Yularen, I think, is fine. As I said, Bale, I think, is also fine. Luminara is, in my opinion, pretty strong. I could see her increased, but I don't think she needs an increase, to be honest. Obi-Wan, on the other hand, is, in my opinion, pretty weak. I think he could easily go down to 20 and be good at 20. I think he also needs like more small ships, so he can kind of play an MSU with Obi-Wan. I think that would be quite nice. Yeah, but I think him going down to 20 is a good move. And then Plo Koon is also okay at 26. I think he might go down. He could go down to 24 and would be okay as well. I don't know. I think he's in a good place. And then the current problem child of competitive Armada, I think, is Separatists. And here we've got quite a lot. So first of all, Trench. I think Trench is just too pricey. I mean, he's kind of a worse Thrawn, whereas you kind of get free dials, but you need tokens for it. So he's associated with a cost as well. So I would at least make him go down to 30 to be on par with my Thrawn going down to 30. Or even make him go down more, because you need the token to activate him, so you need to actually fuel him externally. Or you could just make him Thrawn, but that's also kind of sad, just saying, okay, we're gonna make him Thrawn. I don't know. Count Dooku is okay. I would just make him a bit cheaper. I don't think he's great, to be honest. I don't know. I think it's just a combination of raid not being super good and then some fleets just not caring about raid much at all. Yeah, I think he can go down to 26 and be great. Grievous, I personally would probably just rework entirely. I think like his effect is usually if you play it the normal way, that you don't fly stuff off the table. It's just bad, because as long as your opponent just concentrates on one thing and kills that and then goes to the next thing, his effect won't do anything for you. And then if you play him that way, that you start by flinging stuff off the table to use him whenever you need him, I think that makes for pretty dumb games where you always have to like stay close to the edge of the game, of the board, and also I don't think that was intended to be the way for him to work. And even with staying near the board edge, I don't think he's a really good commander for the Separatists. I think the Separatists would need like a dedicated squadron commander that does something good for their squadrons, because their squad game is already kind of weak at the moment, so helping the squads along would be pretty good, and I think that is what I would do with Grievous. But as I said, I would do points first and then start reworking stuff. Yeah, Kraken I think can go down to 28 just to be on par with Martuk, so you can just decide, do you want Martuk with the dice add, or do you want Kraken with the dice fixing? And then last but not least, of course Martuk I think is in a good place. And the last guy is TF, and I think TF just needs to go down. In points I made him go to 22, and the B2 rocket troopers, which are TF's main way to actually even work at all, I've made those also go down in points, because yeah, currently you don't really have a lot of ships that can even use the black crit that you would get from this at long range. And on top of that, like making him work with like 4 ships is already like 46 points of investment. And you need your ships at medium to your opponent to use B2s. And I think he just has too many hoops to jump through to be good right now. And he costs too much for that. So I think he would just be viable to go down in points, then have the B2 rocket troopers go down in points, and then also add a ship to Separatists that is something like a Raider or a Hammerhead that can use those black crits at long range. Yeah, so we've got quite a good chunk done now. Let's hop back to Rebel captains. Get a ship and get the captains. So I think I'm gonna just concentrate on the guys I think need to change. So I'll speed this up a bit because this takes forever. So I think Rex could easily go down to 3. I never see him. Same kind of rate problem again, but yeah, I think he would be good to go down 3. Draven I think just sucks ass. He really needs a rework of some sort, because nobody ever takes him, in my experience. Derlin I think could go down to 5 and then be good. I think at 7 he's a bit pricey, because most of the games you won't use him turn 1, so he might through the whole game just get rid of 5 damage. And I think 7 points is just a bit too much for that. And then Ramus and Tilly's, I think, could also maybe go down to 5, but I'm not too sure about that. And the rest, I think, is kind of fine where they're at. Okay, not to worry, I will go into the generic officers later, like they'll be the last guys. Yeah, so Empire captains. Cheerio, whatever. I think he could probably drop down by 2, but he's probably also fine at 10. I mean, some carriers might want to take him. Most won't. It's okay. Bronson, I think, is just too pricey at 9. I mean, she was... I don't quite remember where she was, if she was at 5 points or 6, and like everybody took her. And now that she's at 9, basically no one takes her anymore. So I think going down to 7, maybe 8, maybe 6, I don't know. I put 7, would at least bring her back into the discussion, because right now I don't see her anywhere. Yeah, Oresco, where is he? Commandant Oresco. He needs to go down at least to 5, because he's kind of the worst of the Imperial token officers, and they have like 3. So yeah, I mean, nobody takes him. Voldar is also one I almost never see. I would just bring him down by 1 point. Then one of the few instances where I would increase stuff is Vader for 1 point. I think he's just like he's just great, and he would also still be great at 3. He's very strong. I would probably increase him to 3. I don't think it's gonna be game breaking if he stays at 1, to be honest. It's gonna be fine either way. The director Assad definitely needs a rework. She's just completely useless. Also, same thing basically for Callus. Like, he was good back in the day. Where is he again? Agent Callus. He was good back in the day when you were allowed to take like 20 aces, so you took all of the aces. But now that there's only like 4 aces, I hardly ever see him anywhere. Yeah. Next one, Lyra. Oh no, Goran is first. Yep. So Instructor Goran, I think he could be cool, like especially with like having a lot of bombers or something, or having decimators, and then having advanced transponder net or something like that. I think he could be pretty cool, but I think 7 points is just too pricey. So him going down to 5 would be nice. Lyra Wessex, I don't know. I hardly ever see her. Maybe she'd be good or better if you made her like a refresh card that costs an engineering to refresh. And I maybe not just putting it face down, but actually like just discarding it would be nice. I don't know. I think she needs a rewording, like not a whole rework. Like the effect could be very useful, but I think it needs to be better. Yeah. Grand Inquisitor is just plain old useless. I think he needs a rework, maybe to have the enemy be changed at speed and not himself, but I don't know. And then Yularen, same as Oresco. I think he needs to go down in points a bit, because most of the times I just see if somebody takes a token officer, it takes Commander Vanto, and Vanto is very good because he gives you 1 token every turn and he gives you whatever you want, while Yularen basically can't even give you 1 in the first turn most of the times, and then he always just gives you the same token that you just spent back. So I think him going down in points, so he's not as pricey as Vanto. So he's, yeah, because if he would be cheaper, I would be thinking, okay, do I need a different token? Then I'll take Vanto and have more price, or do I take Yularen for the same token every turn? And yeah, I mean, price is a pretty hot topic. I think she's like balanced on basically every ship but the Onager, and on the Onager, she's just way too good. It's just stupid. yeah, my opinion, she just needs a rework or a rewording or whatever. I'm not sure. Maybe she just needs to not be able to be used on the Onager. I've seen people just say, okay, once per activation while performing an attack that is not an ignition attack. I think that already would just make her be way more balanced. So yeah, that's that. Going to Republic. Let's see the captains. So Adigalia, I don't know. I personally don't see her much. I could see her go down, but she's already just 3 points. I think she's okay. Ahsoka could go down to 5, and Barriss could go down to 5, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think they're fine at 6. They have their places, especially Ahsoka. She has her place. Barriss, I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know why you would use her. Maybe she just needs a rework or something. Zach is good, I think. Silver is also good, and then Wolf is just, bruh, I don't know. Like, his first thing is okay, but that's not worth like 6 points. And the second point thing is just not usable, since there's no squadron in the Republic as of yet with a printed assault keyword. So I think he just needs a complete redo. Yeah. And then Clone Navigation Officer, I think is fine where it's at. Yeah, going to Separatists, and here we have more problem childs again. So if we look over here, Asajj is still bad even after her rework. I think she just needs some kind of rework to work well with Count Dooku and with all the other raid stuff that's in the faction. Maybe something along the lines, while you're attacking a ship that has a raid token, you can reroll dice or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it's already hard enough to put raids on your opponent. You don't want to remove the raid, or just make her, if she's at close range of an enemy ship, like Rex for the rebels, that you can only discard it by discarding a token or something. But she just really needs a rework. Then Puzzle, I think, is kind of okay. He would be better at 4 points. Because like you get a lot of nice stuff. Like for 4 points you can get the T-Series, which is less hoops to jump through to get extra dials. You can get Rune and Antiques for token support. So I think for Puzzle to have a place, he would probably need to go down to 4 or even more. Then Rune Hako is very good. He's good where he's at. Sandhill, I think, also needs a rework because the text is just completely useless. Never seen him used. And I think, yeah, I don't know. He just needs a rework. That doesn't work at all. Shumai is fine, I think. If you wanted to buffer, you could take away the non-consecutive round tokens, but she's good as is anyway. TI-99 is also good. Tykes is good. And then Wat Tambor, I think, is too pricey now. He could easily go down to 7. And like a second problem is that you've got the opportunity cost that if you take Wat Tambor as captain, you can't take the squadron, and the squadron is, I'd say, kind of necessary for most Separatist squadron wings. So you're gonna see the captain only in basically very small complement squad fleets or in squadless fleets, and those are most of the time not that competitive, sadly. So I think he A, needs to go down in points, and B, I don't know, maybe he needs to be not Wat Tambor, but basically just be Wat Tambor 2 or something, or some other name, so you can take the captain and the squadron, because Separatists really don't need this kind of opportunity cost of taking one and then not being able to take the other. They have hardly enough stuff as it is. Okay, and then we're just gonna keep this open while we look at our generic officers right here. So I think Kondo is well off. I think Chart Officer is not used often, but she's okay. And at 2 points, I mean, there is sometimes I'll use her. I've seen her on the Super Star Destroyer, quite fun there. Yeah, Damage Control Officer I think could go down in points a bit to 3, because I think just right now crit effect fleets aren't as good anyway, and then a lot of ships don't even like have only 1 contain, so on those ships she's also not really usable, and I don't know, I think she doesn't have a good place in the meta right now. Going down to 3 might make it an easier consideration to take her. I don't know. Then basically all the generic captains other than Expert Shield Tech, Skilled First Officer, and Intel Officer really need a rework. Because, I mean, nobody uses them, really, no one. And no one should use them since they're quite bad. Like, most of them, as long, like, there's, in my experience, not a lot of people who play slicer tools. And as long as there aren't any slicer tools, you should never need one of these, because as long as you're a good player, you can just plan ahead and have the right command dial for the right time. Like, I don't know. Yeah, Expert Shield Tech, he's perfectly fine, I think. Flight Commander is also perfectly fine, and Intel Officer is also perfectly fine. And then Skill First Officer is also very good. Veteran Captain, I myself, the guy that gives you an extra token, have made him from 3 go down to 2, because, I don't know, I think 3 is pretty pricey. Yeah, especially if you look at stuff like CommsNet or parts resupply and stuff like that, they give you way more tokens over the whole game. If you look at something like Vanto or Ramus Antilles, like most of the times you're somewhere at like a point per token or less, and him being 3 points for a token is a bit much. I think you could also even just go down to 1 and be perfectly fine. Yeah. So, next thing is offensive retrofit. Advanced transponder nets, not seen a lot. I think it could be cool though to make like more fleets viable with, I don't know, having your swarm of hyenas, your swarm of Y-wings, your swarm of decimators. That could be quite cool. I think it probably, first of all, it needs to go down in points. Maybe it needs to lose the modification part, or it needs an increase in range, or it just needs to not be only engaged, basically friendly heavy squadrons at distance 1 to 2, prevent engaged squadrons from attacking ships and moving would already make it so much better. It needs a buff of some sorts. The next thing, B2 rocket troopers. As I had discussed earlier with the raid bot, it needs to go down in points. Like, you mostly, like, most people don't take it for the flag edition, and the flag edition is nice, but it's not what you take it for. And the thing you take it for is giving raid, and it only works at close to medium. So you need to be pretty close, and then it still costs 7, so it needs to go down to 5, maybe even down to 4 or something. Yeah, boosted, disc caps, expanded hangar bay, flag bridge, flag guns is all fine, I think. Hardened bulkheads is also fine. It could go down. I don't think it needs to though. Yeah, I think on most fleets it's just hard to justify because other stuff is just way more needed. And then ramming is, well, it's prevalent, but it's not that prevalent. Yeah. Hyperwave signal boost, I think just needs a rework. It's just not good, I'm sorry, but it just isn't. Maybe a way to have Separatist Squadrons gain Rogue for 1 turn or something. That might be good. Pylons, I think, is good. Point defense reroute is pretty bad, I think. Going down to 3 points, or just having it be worded as while attacking a squadron at close range, you can reroll one of your dice, not just your crit icons. I think that would make it way better. As is, all I ever see it on is the Super Star Destroyer, and that already suffers, so I don't know. I think like having this for a flag boat would be kind of nice, but then again, most flag boats, like the Raider doesn't, like every flag boat that has black flag can't use it because it won't work. And then yeah, I don't know, like a hard sell could use it, but not at 5 points. I mean, and not if you want to have B2 rocket troopers instead, or reserve hangar decks or something. Like 5 is just too much, in my opinion. Same goes for quad laser turrets. I mean, they would be nice if they were less pricey, but the way they are, I don't think anybody's going to take them. And then for rapid launch pace, I have maybe a controversial changing. So I would not make it 6 points on every ship, but I would make it 1 point plus the squadron value of the ship you're equipping it to. I can understand if people don't like to have to calculate their upgrade cost, so I could also just see this scrapped. But I don't see why rapid launch base should be 6 points on something like a Raider, where you can only yeet out 1 squadron, and then it's 6 points on a Venator, where you can yeet out 6 or 7. What is it? Is it 6? Is it 5? I think it's 5. So on a Venator it would stay 6 points, and on basically everything else it would go down a bit. So yeah, that's offensive retrofits. Then we go to defensive retrofits, and basically we're here now. Yeah, I think advantage projectors are good on some ships, like the MC-30, for example. Cluster bombs, you could make them go down to 4 points, but I'm not the hugest of fans, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. You might also just make it, I don't know, make it a rework or something. I think like in some lists it's already okay. Like if you go squadless hard cells and you put like a cluster bomb on everything, it's kind of okay, I think. I don't know. Early warning system, and that's like basically where the big three for me, which is early warning system, ECM, and thermals come in. I think the big battle always on big ships is between ECM and thermals, and I feel like every time you can take thermals, people just take thermals because it's kind of better. So in that sense, I think thermals needs to go up in points, or also be an exhaust like ECM, because they fill the same role just a bit differently. And I don't know, I personally just hate that thermals make stuff like the Super Star Destroyer or like an ISD-2 or something just completely teethless with one upgrade, in a way that even ECM couldn't. I'm also pretty sad that with Luminara you can theoretically like use thermals 3 or 4 times around. I think just having it for that one big attack would still make it be okay, but I think it's a bit too strong. So I would probably make it 7 points as well, and make it exhaust as well, and then you'd actually have to consider if you want to take ECM or thermals, which one you'd rather like. And in that whole discussion, I would make early warning systems go down to 6 points. Because I think it's worse than both. But it's not worse by much. It's just different in a way. But I think decreasing it to 6 would also make the thing, do I want early warning system or ECM, a bit more prevalent. Maybe even go down to 5 on early warning system, I don't know. yeah, I think ECM is in an okay state where it is right now with the refresh cost and the and it having to be tapped. I think that's good. Reactive gunnery, I think, is good. And then redundant shields is a huge pile of trash. In my thing, I would put them down to 3, and I'll argue this right here. So I think on a big ship that only has 1 slot, you'll always have ECM or thermals. Like, nothing is as good as mitigating damage as those two. There's just no way around it. And then on a big ship with double defensive retrofit, like the MC 80 assault something, and like the not recusant, the what's it called? You know, the Separatist thing that can also get double defensive retrofit. Most of the times what you see is thermals and early warning system, and I think that's fine. And I just think redundant shields never has a place there. Because at the start of each status phase means first turn, if there's no shots, which most of the times there isn't, you won't have a point from that. And then last turn, you also won't get a shield from that because the status phase of the last turn doesn't change anything. The game is over. So basically what it does is gives you up to 4 shields over the span of the whole game for 8 points and for a modification, which is just really, really bad. I think it needs to lose the modification part and it needs to go down to 3 points, because at 3 points, I would actually consider putting this on like the small ships that have a defensive retrofit slot that you almost never see with a defensive retrofit, like the hard cell, like a CR90A, like maybe even on an Architans, and thinking, I don't actually remember if the Chargers have a defensive retrofit slot, but if they have, that's also a ship where I'd put redundant shields, and I think that would actually make this card pretty nice in those occasions at 3 points. Yeah, and then reinforced blast doors I think is fine. So yeah, that's that. Let's go to turbo lasers, and I think there I don't have a whole lot to say. My biggest thing, yeah, heavy turbo laser turrets are just bad. They need to go down to 3 points, and even at that, I think they actually just need a rework. Yeah. Same's with heavy fire zone. I mean, reds, like you can make your flak blue dice to a flak red dice. It's just pretty horrible. Reds are notoriously unreliable when attacking, especially against squadrons that ignore the crits, and most of the times if they also ignore the accuracy, because yeah, that's just bad. And then XX9s I think could go down to 4 or even down to 3, because they're also not that well off. I think XI7, TRC, Swivel, Spinal, Slaved, and Quads are good. The other quads and LTT is also good. H9 is good, Enhance is good. Dual turbo lasers needs a point decrease. I don't think 4 points is enough, maybe even less. And Debu Wise is also in a good state. Yeah, so I think dual turbo lasers could go down to 3 even. I also don't understand why it's a modification, to be honest, because like the effect is really not good. Like LTT basically has the same effect plus an additional effect and is not a modification. Why is dual turbo laser turrets a modification? What? Anyway, so that's that. Yeah, let's go on. Ion cannons. I need another ship in here. Give me the Providence. Very nice. With ion cannon. And about ion cannons, I've thought a lot, and I've come down to I'd probably decrease ion cannon batteries down to 4. I personally just don't see them often, and I think they are a cool card. but pretty pricey at 5 points for what it does. Yeah, they're okay, I guess. Overload Pulse, I think, because I would make it just go down to 7, just to be a bit more competitive against heavy ion cannons. Because most of the times it's the worst, but you could even keep that at 7. Like, I think I'd be fine with most of the ion cannons. The only one I'm really adamant at is point defense ion cannons, and yeah, I don't think they have been great for all the crit seeking people, like Screed, and especially the black crit effects. You rarely ever see them because exactly of this one card. I think they need to be reworked. Well, at least they need to go up to 6 points. I think most people would still take them at 6 points. Most people would probably even take them at 8 points, which would be pretty pricey, but I think people would still put this on their ship for 8 points. At least I would, and I think that just speaks to the way how much underpriced they are at 4 points. Other than that, I could see them staying at 4 points and just maybe not working against ships, only working against squadrons or something like that. I don't know if people are on board with that, but I would like to have like black crit effects or generally crit effects be a bit more back in the game, because I kind of like them, and I like heavy ions, I like overload pulse, I like ACM, APT. I think those are cool, and I hate that this card basically single-handedly kills most of them. And it's just also pretty annoying to me that this is like one of the few Armada cards that you can like proc 10 times around without breaking into sweat. Like if your opponent brings like 3 ships that shoot you, or maybe not 10 times, maybe just 8 times, but just let it be like 1 ship and a double arc at close range, and then like 6 squadrons, and you can proc it on every single one of those attacks. I think it's just way too good. Wow, I have talked way too much. Next one, Ordnance. I think most of them are fine. I think expanded launchers could go down to 10. And rapid reload could go down to 6. Just because like basically all the time people just use extracts, and then that's that. And it's good. And those are basically kind of different, but worse editions of extracts. So yeah, I think they could definitely go down in points a bit. I think Wide Area Barrage just needs plain old rework. I've never seen anybody just even attempt to use it. And then the next thing, Flechettes. I don't know. I mean, they have very niche kind of ways where they would be okay. But even on those ships, like I'm particularly looking at the Raider, for example, or the Venator for the Imperials. Even at those points, people tend to just take extracts instead, because extracts works against squadrons and ships, and Flechettes just work at squadrons in like a very, like if your opponent has already jumped his, like activated his squadrons and attacked your ship, they don't do anything. So you have to be at close range of enemy squadrons and then activate your ship before the enemy gets to activate their carrier. I think they're just too situational. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on Ordnance. For weapons teams, I think I can mostly skip those. The only thing I would make go down in points is Clone Gunners, maybe to 3, maybe even to 2. I think Clone Gunners are pretty bad at the moment. They just need too much to function, like you need a confire on somebody else, and then that one needs to be at range. They're pretty strong if they work, but I don't know, I think they're not that great, to be honest. I think the opportunity cost of most of the times, like not taking gunnery team, not taking ordnance experts, is just a bit much. Sorry. For boarding teams, yeah, I mean, there's a bit of controversial stuff in here. I think boarding engineers are just plain worse than boarding troopers. I have them going down to 1. I don't know. I think they could also just have a rework or something. The sad thing is I really just don't see a design space next to boarding troopers, because they're always going to be best in this kind of way, because spending your opponent's defense tokens is just very strong. And I don't think any other boarding thing is going to be as strong. That's basically, there's only one exception, and that is the Vader boarding team. And I think Vader boarding team I've made pricier go up to 5. It would still be very strong at 5. And then the Rebel version is Shriv. He was previously twice as pricey as Vader, and he can't take off a captain. He can't take off a title, while Vader can take off anything besides an admiral. So I made Shriv be less pricey than New Vader at 4. And then if we look at the Rebels, just a sec, I'll jump over back to Rebels over here. Yeah, if we look at these, like, Jin, I've never seen Jin work, or used for that matter. I've seen Cham used, but not to like great effects. Like I've seen him used with like Radus drops a Profundity, and Profundity drops like a Hammerhead, and the Hammerhead has Cham, and that can be quite good, but it's also not great. So yeah, I'd make him be less pricey as well. And yeah, Shriv I already talked about. I think he needs to go down in price according to Vader, because Vader is just better. The better version of Shriv, so he should also cost more than Shriv. Yeah, and I think boarding troopers is okay the way it is. Like it has a lot of things you have to do. You gotta have a squad dial or token, and you need to be at close range. And then it only does like your squadron value. I think it's in a good place. Yeah, so we've almost got this. For fleet support, I think they're all good the way they are. Don't think they need any adjustment at all. For fleet commands, it's gonna be probably a pretty controversial take. So where's the damn Pelta, so we can look at fleet commands? There it is. I think all of these are totally fine. The normal ones that everybody can take. Yeah, I think Mercy Mission is, competitively speaking, a bit of bullshit, to be honest, because it's, in my opinion, too strong. Like, no other faction has a way to force you to fight them, because like a Republic fleet with Mercy Mission can make you go second if they have a bid for that, and then with Mercy Mission still win the fight if you don't fight against them, as long as you can't farm more than 40 points off of your objective. And that, in my opinion, is just plain stupid. I don't know how I would rework it. Probably most Republic mains will be like, well, our faction isn't too strong already. Why will you take this away from us? I'm a bit torn. I mean, I personally would rework it. I would like to hear more different opinions on that, though, from a lot of people. Like, am I alone with that? Because I have to say I'm not a huge Republic player, so that might just be my bias against something I'm not playing. But I would like to know if a lot of people are feeling the same, that Mercy Mission should maybe not work the way it works. And then lastly, hot landing is hot garbage. I think that just needs a rework. Yeah. Okay. Lastly, for upgrades, we have the support teams. I think most of these are good. Aux Shield team is good, Engine Tech is good, Fighter Coordination team is good, Medical team is okay, is good, Projection Expert is good, and then you see there's only 2 left, and I think both of them would just profit from just going down a bit in points. I think Nav team could also probably just go down to 2 points, and Engineering team at 4 points, maybe down to 3 points, I don't know. Might be a bit strong on like at 3 points, it might be too strong on something like a CR90 or something, but I don't know. I think they too can go down. And then the last support team I always keep forgetting about is the Separatists Droid Reserve. Let's see it here. Here, Battle Droid Reserves. And I don't know. I have never seen someone play this. I think the problem with Separatists is like basically the only ship you can take it on would be Hardstart Transport, which wants to take Projection Experts most of the times, or Munificence, and there it's okay, I guess, but I would probably make it go down to 2 points. Yeah, and then the rest cannot take it anyway. So, yeah, I would make it go down to 2 points or make it a rework. But I think putting it down to 2 points would make it a whole lot more viable. I think then the very tanky Munificent becomes very funny because you can have Droid Reserve, you can have the title that lets you discard stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's the problem is it kind of battles with Medical team, and Medical team is just so much like it's 3 points less costly. So, yeah, I think Droid Reserves just needs to go down in points. Anyway, and then the last thing we have to discuss is a whole lot of titles. And here I think I will really just go through the ones that I think need a small buff. So yeah, we've got Paragon first. I think it could easily go down to 3. Everybody who's played an assault frigate and tried to play Paragon knows how hard it is to even make work. I personally think it's just not a good title for that. Like if you would do like a salvo boat, it might be okay, but it's just not great. Then for next one for CR90s, I would make Tentative 4 go down to 2 points to be in line with ComsNet and with Liberator and with Genocide. And I'd make Duduna's Pride go down to 4. Yeah. Next thing would be Hammerheads, and there I just make Task Force Antilles be 1 point as well, just like Task Force Organa. Because right now I feel like Task Force Organa is the better card anyway, and I don't think Task Force Antilles is actually worth 3 points. Might be worth 3 points on every ship if it would make you, like if it would just eat the damage, but since like the other ship still has to eat the damage, I think it's just bad. Yeah, what do we have next? Yes, the MC-80H. So for these ones, it's kind of like the base ship is already bad, but then Defiance is like bad from the same standpoint of Paragon, because you have to wait for everything to be activated and then you might be able to use it. It's not great. Home 1 is just too pricey at 7 points. You can't use it on yourself, so you can only use it on any other ship. And like most Rebel ships that work with Akbar, where you would want to use this, probably don't even need it. Like a TRC 90 with Akbar doesn't really need it. TRC MC 30 doesn't need it. The assault frigate most of the times doesn't need it. I don't know. And then Independence is just, I don't know. Like, it's just really, really bad. I mean, it could be nice to have it on, like, your MC80 to have something like B-Wings move speed 4 in the first round. And for that, it would be good. But I would never have it be 8 points for that, because you've got the big drawback of them not being able to even shoot that activation. Like, I think it would be good for 8 points if it were just each squadron you activate may increase its speed by 1 until the end of its activation, and then just have it like that. That way you would have speed 3 B-Wings, which would be very strong, but on a kind of bad chassis of a ship, and also on like one that can't give you flight controllers. So I think that would make it way better. Yeah, other than that, I think Independence is just bad. I forgot about Mon Calamari Exodus Fleet. That's pretty sad. But I think Mon Calamari Exodus could also probably go down to 4 points. Yeah, just because of the way it interferes with most other MC ships, have like a whole lot of opportunity costs associated with them. Like MC80Ls have Mont Caron, that's very strong, and the MC30 has Admonition and Foresight, which are both pretty strong. So making MC Mon Calamari Exodus Fleet better would probably have that card see more play. Yeah, Redemption. What was Redemption again? Yes, Redemption was this kind of thing. Yeah, I think Redemption is just too costly at 8 points. I would make it 6. Because you see, like, all of the other Nebulon titles, like Salvation is cool at 7, Vanguard is very good at 4, Juveris used to be very good, now it's okay, but I would make it go down to 4 with this kind of effect. And then Redemption is just 8 points and nobody ever uses it. I think it would be fine at 6, to be honest. And that's already all the rebels. So the one more big list is our Imperials. Let's go. I'm gonna try and speedrun this a bit more because my throat is getting a bit sore. 7th Fleet, I think could also go down to 4. I think it has a huge opportunity cost on the Gladiator not being demo, and it still has a pretty big opportunity cost on the Imperial Star Destroyer, not having your Avenger is not good anymore, not having your Chimera or your Relentless. And it also has a very, very huge opportunity cost on the Onager class Star Destroyer. I mean, most people don't even use the Star Destroyer variant, but if they do, I mean, Rakel is very good, Cataclysm is very good, and even Sunder is okay. And 7th Fleet most of the times just doesn't get taken. I think it could go down to 4, could maybe go down to 3. Open on that. So, next problem child, Avenger. I mean, Avenger was just way too good, and then it was still way too good, and now it's just way too bad. And I don't think, like, you keeping your opponent from spending tokens is just too strong. Or in this case, the way it's worded, too bad. I think it needs to be something differently. Like, maybe just exactly copying Mon Caron would work. That your opponent can only spend 1 defense token if you can't fire, and then making it like 8 points or something. I think that would work very, very well. But yeah, I think it just needs a rework or rewording, and I don't think reverting it to one of the older style cards would make it be okay, because those were always kind of too strong. And then the other card that is just way too bad is Devastator. I mean, it's pretty bad. You need to discard your defense tokens for it to work anyway, and then it's just once per round. I think it's just too pricey. I think it needs to go down to 5 points, and then I'd consider it, but 10 points is just too much. So that's Devastator here. Next one, Squall. Yeah, that's one of those, like, I can also just see Squall staying at 3, but Squall is like the best title for Quasars, and like Imperial Squadrons are already ridiculously fast. I've played them a whole lot of my Armada career, and I just have to say, like, Squall is, like, if I take a Quasar, it's a Squall 100% of the time. And I would even take Squall at 5 points. I would probably, like, somewhere, like, I think at 6 or 7, I would have to really debate with myself if I want to take it for 7. But I would most of the times probably even still take it for 7 points. So having it at 5 would be totally fine, I think. But yeah, I get if people don't want me to start increasing points on stuff. So I would also be fine with it staying at 3. It's just, yeah. Okay, then the next basically Devastator problem is for the victory. It's, oh wait, no, it's not we're not there yet. Corruptor is just bad. I mean, all of the Empire Squadrons are already ridiculously fast. Some of your bombers, like the Defender, are already speed 5, so you can't even use it on them. And you don't really want to use a squadron command for your victory most of the times. The only one it would realistically work on are TIE bombers, and they would go up to speed 5 with that. So I just don't see a world where this is used. Yeah, it needs a rework. And then we're at now the Devastator problem. Dominator is in the same kind of way. It's just even worse, in my opinion, than Devastator, because you need to actually take shields off of the hull zone. And you need to take 2 shields off to get 2 blue dice. And especially if you compare that to like something like Patriot Fist, where you get 2 blue dice for nothing, and you get them at long to medium. And here you only get it at close to medium, so not long to medium, which is worse in my opinion. And you need to spend 2 shields, and Patriot Fist is like 6 points, and this is 12. So I think Dominator really needs to go down to like 4 points, maybe even more, or you need to remove the close to medium, or you need to remove the shields. Like, something about this card really needs to change. Then Warlord is the next one. I think maybe it just suffers from the victory not being the greatest kind of, what's it called? The greatest chassis, but I think 8 points is also a bit much for Warlord. I think 6 would be fine. And then next one is on the Super Star Destroyer. Annihilator. While attacking a squadron, you may reroll 1 attack die. For 8 points? For 8 points? 1 flag die reroll? I don't know, man. I think this needs to go down. I put it at 4. I could see it be like at 3. I don't know, but I think like everybody ever takes Ravager because it's good. And then I've seen some builds with Eclipse or Executor, but Annihilator is just bad, in my opinion. Yeah, 8 points is way too much. Okay, next thing, Republic. So, I think the only one, like, most of them are very, very much fine. The only ones needing a bit of help is, like, Tranquility is now very fine at 7, I think. But it's still kind of the choice for any Venator. So Resolute and Triumphant both getting a slight decrease in points might help them get chosen more often. And then lastly, looking at Separatists, Only thing I have decreased for myself would be Gilded Aegis, because you need to spend out your redirect, and especially like if you compare it to the aspiration title of the MC75, which basically kind of does the same, just with a bit of a different timing, but it doesn't cost your redirect. And Gilded Aegis does cost your redirect, so I think it should go down. Like, I think Aspiration is 3 points as well. Let me double check that real quick. Over here somewhere, Aspiration, blah, 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 Endeavor, blah, where is it there? Yeah, it's 3 points natively. So Gilded going down to at least 3 points is good, I think. And then Patriot Fist, I personally would increase it, because for me it's very easy to use. It's very easy to get a lot of points out of it, a lot of damage out of it, and it can be very frustrating to go up against it. I think people would probably still take it at 8. They might even take it at 10. But I can see that people say, okay, please, Tora, the Separatists are already struggling. You don't need to make their only good toy more pricey. And I really feel that, so I think it can probably stay at 6. Yeah, I mean, guys, we've almost got it. This has been a very, very long video. For all the people that are still with me, cool that you're still here. I really, really appreciate you, and I hope we can find some cool stuff for Armada. For Squadrons, I will again only talk about the ones I would change. So one of my passion projects would be to change Luke Skywalker, because I think at the moment he's just pretty bad. Like, Wedge is better, Biggs is better, Hera is better. Like, every other X-Wing pilot is just better than Luke Skywalker. And I think Luke Skywalker is a really, really cool person, like a cool character. And him being so underrepresented in Armada is very sad to me. Like, you've got like 5 Vaders, you've already got 3 Anakins. Why do we only have 1 Luke Skywalker card in the game? But whatever. I think he needs to gain at least like Dodge 1 and Adept 1. And then I would probably make him lose the escort and maybe give him Rogue or something. Or maybe not give him Rogue, because Rebels already have very good Rogues. I don't know, maybe keep the escort. And not, but at least like give him Dodge 1 and maybe a better dice pool against Squadrons. Maybe like the same. I feel like what Hera has with the red, double blue, black. I think that would be pretty nice. Or double blue, double black. Or I don't know, like, because he was so good at the bombing run with the at the Star Destroyer, the Death Star. Maybe giving a blue black for bombing through the shields or something. Like, I think he definitely needs a dodge. He probably needs an Adept 1, like a native Adept 1. And I think then for like 20, or maybe make him go up to 22. But with Dodge 1, Adept 1, and all the other stuff that is already on the card, I think then Luke Skywalker would be pretty good. Next card, Tenumb. I mean, he's the only Rebel ace that can do like the suffer damage thing. That's very strong for Squadrons. I don't know. I've put him at 18. I feel like he would need something else to be very good. I don't know if I want him to be very good, because like the suffer damages stuff, like as you can see with Anakin, can be quite too good. But yeah, I think I feel like he can easily go down to 18. And the next is then the second B-Wing guy, and like his Kian, where is he? There he is, Kian Farlander. Like, it's cool that he has a double black bomber, but his text is just kind of worthless. And I think he needs either another text or go down to at least 17, because he's way less scary than Tenumb. And yeah, I don't know. I think he's not good. Next thing is the E-Wing Squadron Cornhorn, and With the E-Wings, I'm kind of sad. I mean, for all the rogues that the Rebels have, I think Corran is one of the worst. He's got a very, or at least for the Rebel rogues, he's got a not that high of a hull count. 4 blues is kind of standard for Rebels. The 1 red bomber was okay before PDIC, and after PDIC it's kind of meh. And then all of his things together, I think he could easily go down to 20 and be okay. And then for the normal E-Wings, I don't know. I think for me personally, I think they need to go either down to 14 or maybe to 13, or they need an increase to Snipe 4 as well. Yeah, I also thought about maybe giving them Rogue, but I think Rebels already have not too many, but enough really good rogues that they don't need another. Like, I think with Rogue they might be too good, the E-Wings. Yeah. Next one, at the Hawks. I mean, Jan Ors is very, very strong. And her retarded little brother, Kanan Jarrus, is pretty bad. So I think even though he's got all these cool like Rogue and Cloak and Assault, I mean, it's kind of nice. But on the other hand, he's only 4 health. He only has a double brace with the 4 health, so he dies very fast. His anti-squadron isn't that good. His anti-ship would be good if it were bomber, but because it's not bomber, it's kind of meh. And he's only speed 3. I don't know. I feel like Kanan Jarrus is just pretty bad, and I would probably make him go down to 15. Might be a bit too much, maybe 16, but he definitely needs to be less than Jan Ors. Or he needs another text, I don't know. Next thing, VCXs, and I mean, I've talked about this a lot with people online, and earlier a bit when I talked about a gate. I've seen the discussion that people want the Republic and the Separatists have access to strategic, so they can also play farm objectives. And my personal opinion is, please don't. Please just take away strategic from Rebels and from Empire, because like playing against a Starhawk or a Moralo or like any other list that specializes in just farming points off of an objective, in my opinion, is almost never fun. And the problem in most cases, like the problem isn't that Moralo is worded dumb. The problem isn't that like the Starhawk is super tanky. The problem is that the Starhawk is super tanky and it gets 45 points every turn. The problem is that Moralo, because of strategic, can just move like 8 times a turn. And like I feel like the problem, the root problem is strategic and not Moralo or the Starhawk. So I think strategic just needs to be reworked. I don't think there should be anything in the game that can actually move the objective tokens, because basically all of the objectives I feel like are balanced around you not being able to move the tokens. And once the token moving gets in there, it's just plain unbalanced. Okay, next thing of my heart's desire is Han Solo. And man, they did him dirty. I mean, he's 3 points more than Lando. He has arguably a way worse text. I mean, Lando has just way better defense than Han, and he's got better offense because he can take that dumbass red die and just make it double every damn time. I mean, I personally like Han Solo's dice pool more with the double blue, double black, and the blue-black bomber, but like his text is not as good, and he's 26 points. I think he needs to go down to 20 points, and then people would start thinking of, would they rather have Han instead of Lando. But I think at 26 points being more pricey than Lando, there's just no way anyone is going to take Han. And that to me is very sad, because like for the same reasons that I'm sad that Luke is only once in the game, like why is Han Solo only once in the game? Why have we got 2 Heras? Why have we got like 3 layers, 2 layers. It's only 2 layers. Yeah, it could be more layers. I think more layers would also be good for the game. But yeah, no. I mean, the only Han Solo in the game, and he's pretty overshadowed by Lando. Sad thing. Anyway, last 2 things. Nim. I think Nim is just not good, and he could just go down by 2 points and still be not good, but at least he's cheaper then. Malihura, I think, needs to also go down in points. She's way too pricey. Where is she? She's the one that lets you put stuff on a crit. And yeah, she has too many stipulations. Like, if you look at Empire, they have somebody who works not the same, but similar in Captain Jonas. And Captain Jonas only says, well, while he's at distance 1 of an enemy ship, your ships attacking that ship can put a die on an accuracy. And she says, once per activation, while a friendly ship is at distance 1 of you and you are engaged by one of your squadrons, the attacker may spend 1 die to change 1 die to a face with an accuracy icon. And I'm like, why? Like, first of all, take the engagement thing out of it in total. Like, there's no reason why that should be there. And then if we look at Jonas, sorry, here, Captain Jonas, while a friendly ship is attacking at distance 1, it may change 1 die to a face of a accuracy icon. Why does melee have to be not engaged and you have to spend a die to have a crit? I think Malihura should read just the same as Jonas, but instead of an accuracy icon, there should be a crit. That's what I think should be there. And then she should still not be 26 points. Because, like, Jonas is 16. I mean, his dice pool is way worse, but the rest is kind of the same as melee. And I mean, that's not, like just the worst dice pool is not worth 10 points on a squadron at all. Yeah, sorry, that got me worked up. I mean, I think melee is a pretty sad state right now. Yeah, and then next thing, Dash Rendar. I mean, he's okay. He could also just stay at 24. I mean, I'm completely fine with that. But I think at 24, he's just worse than Lando in every respect. And I don't see why. I think going down to 22 would be nice. Because, like, I mean, yeah. He's got less hull. I mean, he's a bit faster, but his dice pool is worse. His bombing is worse. His defense is worse. And the anti-squadron output might be as good as Lando. So, yeah, I don't know. Last one, or almost last one, Fan Rao. I say Lieutenant Blunt is first, so the headhunter guy, I think he could just go down to 12. Like, he's even more worthless than most of the TIE fighter ASOS, and yeah, I think he could go down to 12 and still be fine. And then last but not least is Fan Rao, the new edition, and I think he can also go down a bit. Like, 24 is pretty pricey for a cool effect that's kind of okay, for assault that you're not going to use almost ever, and then a dice pool against squadrons that's just kind of meh. Yeah, I think he could go down to 22 as well and be good at 22. He's good at 24. He's okay at 24. I think he'd be good at 22. Okay, talking about Imperial squadrons. First thing, like, I think the TIE fighters are fine. The TIE bombers, I've just made everybody go down by 1 point. Because the TIE bomber is in a kind of a sad state. I think rather than that, I would much rather have every single TIE bomber squadron just have a blue die anti-squadron more. So they're blue-black at least. Because, I mean, even Y-Wings, like, they cost 10 points. They have 1 health more. They have an anti-squadron die more. I don't understand why TIE bombers are so bad. Like, with a blue-black, I think they would be good at 9 points. But being as is, they either need to go to 8, and I still don't think that's going to fix it. I think they actually need to have blue-black anti-squadron. And that would make them very good. Or not very good, but actually playable. Yeah, that's why all the bombers went down. Then I have Volt at 16. And my problem with Volt is he's basically Sienna Ree. I mean, they both fill the exact same slot in a squad screen, but Volt just dies faster but has more counter. And I feel like most people still tend to use Sienna. I don't know if he has to go down in points or not. I also hate that he's like the only squadron in the game that has a negative effect, which is just why? I mean, you could probably just take away the text and he'd already be more of a contender. Because like this, you can't just like activate him once and then forget about him, because if you forget about him, he's never gonna shoot his good dice pool again. Yeah, then we have Vader in the TIE Advanced. And there's my general problem with the Advance is just it's bad, I think. Like, it's basically an X-Wing, but it's 1 speed faster and has 1 die against Squadron less and has bombers. Is less good at bombing. And I think the generic could go down to 11, then Tempest could also go down by 1 point, and Zerdik could go down by 1 point, and I think then that would be a fair trade. And I think the Vader stuff, like Vader in the TIE Advanced, where is he? He's just way overpriced. I mean, he just dies all the time. He doesn't even have that good of a damage output. I think he would need to lose his escort, gain Adept 2, gain Dodge 1, and then he'd be fine. Yeah, I think that, or Adept 1 and Dodge 1, I don't know. Something like that. Yeah. But like right now, if you have both Vaders, and like I hear people that say Vader Defender is too strong. I can understand if you feel that way. I think he's pretty strong, but maybe not too strong. But yeah, if you just compare them, the TIE Advanced Vader is just useless. I mean, I'm sorry. There's like, if I choose a Vader squadron, I will never ever choose Vader in the Advanced. Never. There's just no way. And yeah, I think he just needs to be different. I don't know. Yeah, Lambda is the same as the Skirk. The VCX, I mean, in the way that I wanted to not have strategic or rework the strategic to be something else. Next guy would be Boba Fett, and I think Boba Fett is like a really cool character, but he's just way too pricey at 26. If you look at Hondo, he's a very good text, and basically the same stuff, but he gains grit on top of Boba, and he is 2 points less. I mean, Boba's effect is also not useless, but it's also not terribly great. So I feel like him going down to 21, 22, 23, something like that would make me consider Boba more. Yeah. Similar thing with Bosk. I think Bosk could go down to 20 and be fine. Tel Travura is one of the guys I could see going up by like 1 or 2 points, because he's like very annoying, pretty strong. If you're doing a Empire Rogue Ball, I think there's almost no way around Tel Travura, and I think for 17 points he is very point efficient. Yeah, then the Jump Master, the generic one. Bro, I don't know where to start. Like, I don't know. I think like if it had maybe 4 blue dice, I would see it be like a different TIE Interceptor because of intel and having a hull more. But with 2 blue dice, I don't see anyone using a Jump Master, because intel isn't really that great anymore. I mean, it's actually, I don't think it's great at all anymore. Yeah, this one needs a serious buff. I don't even think it needs to go down in points, because people won't take it. Like, I wouldn't take it at 8 points. Because at 8 points, I'd still rather have a TIE Fighter than this thing. it's just like, this baffles me how this ever got approved. And I also don't understand, like, even with old Intel, you took Dengar or something, but you wouldn't take a generic Jumpmaster. Has anybody in the history of Armada ever played a generic Jumpmaster? Or, like, 2? I mean, if you did, please let me know, and please let me know why, because I can't understand it, but this is, at 12 points is just a scam, man. This is a scam. Anyway, getting back on track, since we want to finish this at some point. Gar Saxon, and I really kind of like the Mandalorian models. I really don't like what they did with them. I think, like, his text needs to be replaced, because nobody ever brings Intel anymore, and relay is also not that prevalent. And yeah, I mean, all of the rest is also just like, the double blue-red is pretty bad in my opinion. The blue-black anti-ship is okay, but for 23 points, it's too much in my opinion. You could also go down to 20 if you had like a useful text. Because like, most people won't use Assault for anything, and then he's just a pretty bad rogue at 23 compared to like any other rogue. Yeah. Talking about bad rogues, I think both IG-88s should just have a brace on top, so they actually have some kind of staying power. Because I've, like, more than once just have somebody roll up to them, have like an Anakin, and just one-shot these things, and they are just, like, the moment you lock down the scatter, they're just exploding. I think if they had a brace, you could just leave them as is, and they would be way better. Yeah. So that's why I add brace there. The normal aggressor, I think, could go down to 15, because it's a bit worse than the YT-2400. So the YT-2400 is currently at 16. This is also currently at 16. Their dice pool is the same. They both have rogue, but the YT-2400 has a speed more and a hull more, and this thing, instead of the speed more and the hull more, gains counter. And I think that's just a pretty bad trade-off. Yeah, I think at 15 it might be better, maybe 14. Maybe 14 might be a bit too low. I don't know. And then last but not least is Morna Key, and I have her at a decrease with a question mark. I don't know. I don't see her often anymore, but I don't even know if you would be able to decrease her points and still have her balanced, because she would be pretty strong with less points. I don't know. Yeah, so almost done. Republic squads, let's see it. What do I have here? Well, I have Anakin in the Aether Sprite, and I mean, he's kind of the elephant in the room from Rapid Reinforcement. Is he from 1 or from 2? I think he's from 1. He's just the squadron for Republic, and that's why I wouldn't advocate to actually making him worse. I don't particularly like it. I just think it's a bit sad that whenever you do a squad screen for Republic, you just auto include Anakin Aether Sprite. And he's like very, very hard to kill, especially with kickback next to him, and maybe even implacable. I think you could probably lose his dodge one and still be perfectly viable. I don't know if Republic players are ready to lose that dodge. I can see him still be the way he is. I don't know. I don't think I'm not hell-bent on him losing the dodge. I think it would probably make him more balanced, but yeah, he's just very strong. Next one is Kit Fisto. I think Kit Fisto could easily lose 3 points. I mean, he's kind of like Tel Travura, but different and a bit worse in my opinion, because of his brace losing is just decreasing the damage sum and not regaining health. I think if he had been worded like Tel, he would be worth the 26. Right now, I think rather 23, maybe 20. Yeah, I don't think Kit Fisto is really good. And then Luminara and Luli, I would reword so that it's not while an enemy squadron is at distance 1, but while she is at distance 1 of a friendly, that friendly squadron is at defense, like the friendly squadron, the attack is treated as obstructed. You get what I'm saying. I'm starting to ramble, because I have talked way too much. Yeah, next thing is Matchstick. I don't like where he's at right now. I get that he was kind of broken before. Now I feel like he's kind of useless, or at least he's not useless, but with these kind of strong squadrons like Anakin, like Ahsoka, like Kickback, well, not Kit, but like Luminara and Plo Koon, like the opportunity cost of taking Matchstick is just too big most of the times. So I see why he's not being utilized much anymore, or at least I feel like that. But I also think you can't really make him cheaper, because if he would be cheaper, A, the opportunity cost would still be the same, and B, I don't know, man, he would, like at 14 he would just be too good, I don't know, and still not be taken because other stuff is just better, if you get what I'm saying. And then my last guy would be Oddball. I would decrease him to 20. And I would probably reword him so he says, while attacking, if you didn't move during this activation, you may reroll up to 2 dice. So he works with rapid launch base. Because I think that's what most of the people would actually use Oddball with. And yeah, I like Oddball. I would like him to, I would like to see him more. Okay, and finally, last thing, I can't talk anymore. Ugh. Separatist Squadrons. And like, I hear you guys, I don't think the squadrons that are here need to be buffed. I just think there need to be more Separatist Squadrons. So one thing I really think would need a buff is the 2 fighters though, because they are, like, especially if you compare them to TIE Fighter aces, they're just too pricey. So I'd drop the DFS 311 by 2 points. Because his text is pretty useless, but he's got Intel. But I mean, then again, Intel is also pretty useless, so I don't know. And then the Hollow Chow prototypes I'd also drop by at least 1 point. Maybe I'd actually drop them by 2 points. I don't know. And then the last thing I would change is Watambor. And as I discussed earlier, I think he just needs to be a different name, because I think having Watambor and having Watambor in the same fleet wouldn't be broken, and I think Separatists kind of need both. They need the captain and they need the squadron. So I would change Watambor to be somebody else, or I would change the captain, rather the captain, because I think it's pretty thematic for what to be in the Belbull up. And then the last thing I would change is I would actually give him an effect, because I really hate that he's the only squadron in the game that is like a unique with defensive tokens that just hasn't got an effect. I think I'd give him something like, when he activates, you can choose a friendly squadron at 1, that squadron takes 1 damage, and then he recovers his health or something. I would really like something like that. Because he still dies really fast with his escort and screen and those defensive tokens. He still dies pretty fast. And I feel like giving him a heal would be very, very nice and very thematic, because he basically like take somebody else and hold them in front of him. Because at least for me, what always struck me as like not really one of those heroic kind of types. But yeah, that's all the points updates I would be proposing. If you have any kind of feedback, I would be happy to hear it. And I will also, you can find me on the Armada Hub Discord server. And I will probably put this whole thing in there somewhere. Maybe I'll even make it downloadable from somewhere, so you can also get it if you don't have Discord and you only saw the YouTube video. Anyway, I do think that this definitely needs still a lot of work. This is just kind of my first working proposition that I would like to discuss with you guys. I hope you found this entertaining, or at least inspiring to do your own thinking of where you think Armada should head in the future. And I hope we can, even though AMG is no longer supporting the game, we can all still have a lot of great games and also a lot of great tournaments in this game, because I really, really do love the game. Anyway, I hope you have a good time, and I hope to see you in the next YouTube video sometime soon.